Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be continuing working in packet number 12. Packet number 12 is about writing equations of a line, and we had talked about if they gave us directly the slope and the y-intercept, how we could substitute in last class. And also if they gave us a graph, we could identify the slope and the y-intercept and write the equation. Today, we're going to be writing our equation in slope-intercept form, which you'll remember is y equals mx plus b. And this time, what they're going to be giving us is the slope and a point on the line. So anytime we want to go to write our equation, remember we need to know what our m and our b is. So in this case, they're going to be giving us our slope, but we don't know our y-intercept. So here are the steps we're going to follow. Step 1, we're going to label our points x, y, and label our slope m. Remember that every point ever given to us is always an x value and then a y value. So we are going to label our points, and from there, we're going to substitute into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Once we've substituted in, we're going to solve for the one piece we don't know, which is b. Once we've found b, we then have the pieces we need. We have the m, we have the b, we can write our equation. So let's look at example 1. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. Remember, that's our y equals mx plus b. You're going to keep hearing me say that. And it says that it passes through 3, -1, and it has a slope of 5. So what does that mean? Well, that point, that x comma y, means that we have an x value and a y value. And then remember, we use the letter m to represent slope. So if I have an x value, a y value, and a slope, I'm going to list what I know. I know that x is equal to 3. I know that y equals -1, and I know that m is equal to 5. Just pulling information out of what they gave us. From there, we're going to substitute into y equals mx plus b. So we said that y was -1. We said that our m is 5. We're going to put x inside parentheses because that m and x are next to each other, so it means to multiply, plus b. When we go to solve this, first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. So we're going to have 15 plus b equals -1. I want to get b by itself, so I'm going to do whatever is next to the b. I'm going to do the opposite. So it's a positive 15. I'm going to say subtract 15 or -15. -1 minus 15 is -16. If you're not sure, use your calculator to help you. And then we're going to write our equation. When we write our equation, we want it in slope-intercept form, and we're only going to be substituting in the m and the b for our final equation, just like we did in class the other day. So we're going to have y equals, our m was 5, so y equals 5x, and our b is -16, so -16. And this will be our final answer for that one. Let's look at number 2. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through -6, 5 with a slope of -2/3. So again, they're giving us a point and they're giving us our slope. They want it in slope-intercept form. So you'll keep seeing me here or seeing me write y equals mx plus b and hearing me say that. Every point is made up of an x and a y. And we know that slope, we use the letter m. So we're going to list what we have. Well, we have x equals -6, y equals +5, and our slope is going to be -2/3. We're doing this example with a fraction, but for the problems that I'm going to give you to work on, you won't have a fraction, so don't get nervous about that. Even if you had a fraction, you can always use a calculator to do the math. So we're going to substitute in. In place of y, we're going to put 5. In place of m, we have -2/3. Remember, the m and the x touch, so it means multiplication. So in place of x, we're going to put -6. We don't know b, so we're going to put plus b. I'm then going to start to solve this. How do I solve it? I'm going to multiply -2/3 times -6. So I know a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 6 is 12. And then I'm going to divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I end up with a +4 there, plus b equals 5. I want to get the b by itself, so whatever's next to the b, I do the opposite. I have a positive 4. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. That's going to leave me with b equals 5 minus 4 is 1. So now I have my m, I have my b, and I'm going to substitute in to my equation. So keep the y. We're substituting in negative 2/3 for my m. Keep my x, and that was a positive 1, so I'm going to put plus 1. So far, so good. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to have you try a couple in Nearpod. So let's look at example 2. We're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form, given whatever information they're giving us. So we're doing number 2. So they gave us this point and this slope. So slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Step 1, I'm going to label my pieces, remembering that each point is an x and a y, and slope is our m. So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to substitute in 2 for y. M is a negative 1. We're going to be multiplying the x, so I'm going to put x inside parentheses, plus b. Multiply together those two numbers. So we're going to multiply negative 1 times negative 4 to get a positive 4, plus b equals 2. We need to get b by itself. This was a positive 4, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm minusing 4. 2 minus 4 is a negative 2. So b equals negative 2. So I know that I have an m, and I'm going to reiterate, I have my m, I have my b. So I'm going to substitute that in. I want to substitute it into slope-intercept form. So I keep my y, my m was negative 1, x, my b was negative 2. So my final equation would be y equals negative 1x minus 2. Take your time going into the next Draw It screens and try those two examples, and I will show you the answers afterwards.